Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2022 Flight Software Workshop. My name is Brandon Haber, and I'm the General Chair for this year's event. We have a tremendously exciting program planned for you over the next 4 days, but before we begin, I'd like to say just a few short words about the history of the workshop and the format for this year's event. Next slide, please. The Flight Software Workshop started in 2007 to collaborate, share ideas, and meet new people. It is entirely volunteer run by engineers and for engineers. We're not event planners, and this is not a profit-motivated event. Every member of the Flight Software Workshop Committee is a professional software engineer. Next slide, please. In 2007, we had about 80 attendees, and over the years, the event has been hosted here in Maryland at the Applied Physics Laboratory, in California at the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, in Texas at the Southwest Research Institute, and in Alabama at NASA Marshall, and last year and this year on APL's Zoom webinar platform. The event steadily grew to about 150 people in December of 2019. And in February of 2021, the first all virtual year, we had over 400 simultaneous attendees logged into the Zoom webinar. This year, as of a week ago, we had over 850 registrations. And as of this morning, the count was almost 1,200. We have 43 presentations, 5 keynotes, 2 town halls, 2 sponsor kiosk sessions, and 31 pre-recorded presentations. And I'll say a little bit more about those in just a few more slides. Next slide, please. The Flight Software Workshop Organizing Committee is composed of myself as the General Chair. We have David Adele as the Virtual Hosting Chair. Luis Rodriguez is our Event Coordinator. Chris Monaco is our Finance Chair. Amanda Voklin is Sponsor Relations. Chris Heestand is our Technical Chair. Campbell Ong is our Communications Chair. And Joseph Gruber is Website Maintainer. Like all of you that have had some amount of remote work over the last 2 years, we've had a pet join some of our meetings, and Rocket is a guide dog puppy in training at Guiding Eyes for the Blind who has brightened up our committee meetings over the last several weeks. So we thank Rocket as well for joining as our Flight Software Workshop mascot. Next slide, please. I would also like to give a special thanks to our sponsors and to please join them in our virtual kiosks on Tuesday and Thursday to hear more about their products. As noted, the Flight Software Workshop is a nonprofit event. All of our sponsor fees go directly to putting on the workshop year after year. You can see the online schedule on our website for the Zoom links that will take you directly to the sponsor kiosks. And the super secret password is FSW 2022. Next slide, please. We have 5 tremendously exciting featured talks and keynotes this week. We have Hans Koenigsmann, an aerospace advisor, presenting Can We Fix It in Software? Software development in the modern world, just a little bit later this morning. We have David Hitt, an author and strategic communicator and co-author of Homesteading Space, the Skylab story, presenting almost everything I need to know about going to Mars I learned from Skylab, and he'll be presenting tomorrow morning. We have Dr. Janet Vertesi, an associate professor of sociology at Princeton University, presenting Seeing Like a Rover, How Human Teams Matter in Spaceflight Software, and she'll be presenting on Wednesday morning. We also have Andy Dreisman, the managing executive of the space exploration sector here at Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory, and he'll be presenting early on Thursday afternoon, Management Considerations When People Are the Most Valuable Resource. We also have Chris Croupiers, a member of the principal professional staff here at APL, and he'll be presenting Flight Software at JHU APL just after my talk today. Next slide, please. We have many pre-recorded presentations already up on YouTube and linked on our website. And I really want to highlight the tremendous amount of work and lessons available for all of you there. We had 93 abstracts submitted this year, far more than we could ever fit in our 4-day workshop. So we asked many of them to submit pre-recorded presentations to still be able to share their work with the workshop. And we got a tremendous outpouring of support. We did get them uploaded to YouTube last week, and they are all linked directly on our workshop website with a playlist for all 31 presentations. I've already seen several of them growing quite fast in view count. I encourage all of you to take a look at our website and see the links for all of these. Next slide, please. Also, our workshop website is www.flightsoftware.org. It has information on our sponsors, featured talks and keynote speakers, our live agenda, logistics and use of Slack, frequently asked questions, more information about the Flight Software Workshop team, and as noted, links to all of our pre-recorded presentations. Next slide, please. Our flight software workshop agenda is linked there for everyone to see. Our agenda here today on Monday has all of our times available in the Eastern time zone, with regular and technical presentations being 25 minutes long. I'd like to highlight just a few things going on today before we continue. We have our welcome presentation by Chris Krupiars on flight software at JHU APL. We also have our keynote talk from Hans Koenigsmann. And at the end of the day today, we have an interactive workshop on core flight system application development from David McComas. There is a Slack channel already set up, CFS-workshop, with instructions for setting up your environment to follow along with that interactive workshop. Next slide, please. In addition to the chat and Q&A within Zoom, you are welcome to engage with our workshop committee, sponsors, and presenters, and other attendees using the Slack. An invitation link is included in this morning's email. We had several channels created last year during the 2021 workshop as topics came up, and I'm sure we'll do the same again this year. Please be respectful and abide by the code of conduct, and note that Slack is optional, including for presenters, but is encouraged for all for extended discussion. I'd like to highlight in particular the talks channel, which we'd like to encourage you to use to discuss any of the pre-recorded presentations and Q&A as well. Next slide, please. A note on content restrictions. The audience today is international, and recordings will be published to the internet. Presentations and discussions may not include any information that is restricted. So for example, no ITAR, EAR, classified, or otherwise restricted information. All material must be approved for public release, and all presenters are responsible for ensuring your presentation does not contain any restricted content. Additionally, this goes for all attendees through the Q&A platform. Please do not ask any questions that may reveal any proprietary information that is unsuitable for public release. Next slide, please. We're hosting this on APL's Zoom webinar platform, and questions can be submitted through Zoom and read by the session moderator to presenters if time permits. Please try to address your questions to a presenter by name or presentation title if possible, as that will help us sort through the questions from all of you. Additionally, if we run out of time, follow-on discussions can continue on the Slack. Next slide, please. And with that, we have a few minutes for any questions about our format today, which you can submit through the question and answer platform, and I will read off an answer if any come in. We have one question: will we have any coffee breaks? Yes, there are breaks in the agenda. If you see in the live agenda, there are breaks posted.